this is about sustainable farming. My personal definition about sustainable agriculture is it is the practice of agriculture while conserving the environment and its resources by using specialized practices that aid in water, soil, land, and animal conservation. One part of sustainable agriculture is integrated farming. The picture on the top shows specialized farming or separate farming, which means they only use one crop or one livestock animal. The bottom picture shows integrated farming, which combines farm animals and crops to help maximize the resources that are used, and it recycles the resources basically. The livestock produce manure that help the crops grow, and the crops make crop residue, which feed the animals, and then the whole cycle starts all over again. One part that actually was interesting was the part about the bees and using them into integrated farming. I always forget that bees are a part of agriculture, and it makes sense to put them in the pasture to help the plants grow, and then you get honey out of it, so it's very efficient. Another part of sustainable agriculture is the use of poultry production. The top picture shows the industrialized farming of poultry and chicken when they're in those confined areas of the houses, and the bottom picture shows the pasture farming that we're moving towards. It promotes animal welfare that consumers like, and it also helps the pasture grow with their manure and when they eat the pasture. One thing you have to consider is that you have to control a lot of things with poultry, like temperature, water, food, and so what comes in handy are these houses that they use in the pasture, so they can go in there whenever they need to. The top one shows like a winter house, so if they need to get warm, and the bottom one is in the summer if they need some shade or something, and it also has their food and everything in there. So that's one thing to consider when having poultry. And then my last topic I'm going to talk about is goat and sheep production. So goat and sheep produce milk and meat and wool and fiber, and they're very efficient. They turn plants into those products, so it's very labor efficient. And they're very good and sustainable because they don't compete with other livestock, so you can have them on the open pasture with other livestock, and they eat other things that they won't eat, like brush, and they can go into trees and eat the leaves, like this goat here, which I thought was interesting. I don't really think about goats going into trees, but that's pretty cool, and that's called browsing, which not most animals do. So they can get in the higher places and get food, which would be sustainable because no one else can get that food except for them. And then of course they can clear out invasive species, which I didn't even think about, and weed control, that would be a big thing in sustaining the pasture and everything. And then at the end their manure helps the soil, and then the cycle starts again. And so they also graze in the pasture, and that can lower costs to control with management, but you have to use good intensive management, meaning you have to divide the pasture up, and you have to use rotational grazing so they don't overgraze on that pasture. And if they overgraze, it can cause soil erosion because all the grass is gone, and so it just all the soil is exposed, so all the soil will go away, and then nothing could grow there if you really overgraze. And last but not least, I would love to have backyard chickens and start that in my agricultural ways. I'm not very big on farming, but that's me with my aunt's backyard chicken, and she had backyard chickens, and I think it'd be a good gateway to start my way into farming and sustainable farming, and I also think it'd be really fun.